Right, so this is video 6.6. We have talked about two-dimensional objects in the previous section of chapter 6 where we were talking about area. Today we're going to be talking about volume over the next 2 days. Volume is worried about how much space an object takes up, and it is definitely a three-dimensional. So when we talk about three-dimensional shapes like the models that we made yesterday, volume is how much area is inside, how much you could fill it up. So for prisms and for cylinders, for a prism, the formula is going to be your volume is your base, the area of your base. That's why it's a capital B. It is the area of the base times the height. So all of these are going to be multiple step problems where you'll have to find the area of the base. Depending on if it is a triangular prism, you'll have to do the 1/2 base times height and then multiply by height of the prism. And if it's rectangular, you would do your length times width and then multiply that by height. And then for a cylinder, because a cylinder is a circle on its bottom and on its top, you're going to do your area for a circle and then multiply that by your height. All right, so for a triangular prism, one that looks like this, even though it's on its side, its base is considered to be the triangles here on the ends, and this here would be its height. So when we find the volume for this, we're first going to have to find the area of this triangle before we can multiply it by its height. So it's going to be a multiple step here. So let's find the area of that triangle first. Our area of that triangle is going to be 1/2 BH. So our B is 4 and our H is 7. 1/2 of 4 times 7 is going to be 14. We can use that when we multiply it by our height here, which is 11. So our volume is our base times our height. The area of our base was 14. Our height is 11. And together, that is 154 feet cubed. Now, if you'll recall, if you're just measuring length, all we want is feet. If we're measuring area, it was feet squared. So for volume, because we're worried about the third dimension of it, our unit is always going to be cubed up here. All right, so for a rectangular prism, you want your base, the area of your base times your height. So this over here is going to be our, well, you could do it either way. You're going to get the same answer, but I'm going to use that this side over here is my base and that this is my height because it's just a prism tipped over on its side. You can do it the other way where you're doing the 10 and the 4 as being your base and your 7 as being your height. It should work out either way. So I'm going to take that this is my base here. So I'm going to say my area of my base is 7 times 4, which is 28. So my volume is my base times my height, which would be 28 times 10, and that is 280. Now, I don't have the units marked, but we're going to call them feet so we can get used to seeing that our units are feet cubed. All right, so for a cylinder, now we have our base, which is our circle here up on top or on bottom, and our height, which is going to be here on the side. All right, so we need to find the area of our circle first. The area of our circle is pi r squared. My r is 4, so I'm going to do 4 squared. So I'm going to leave this as 16 pi for my area. So for the volume for my cylinder is going to be 16 pi times 8. So when I'm going to type that into my calculator. Now I can do my 16 times my 8 and leave it there and leave it in terms of pi, which is totally fine. 16 times 8 is 128. So we could say 128 pi, let's call them feet cubed, or we could say 128 times 3.14 and get approximately 401.92 feet cubed. Either of those would be acceptable answers. And once again, because we're talking about volume, our units are going to be cubed. Click on the link, complete the homework, and I will see you in class.